Good evening, everyone. We're broadcasting from the background in the picture will be Lowydale at Forest Temple. It's not exactly summer up there right now. I heard they were having like 20 degrees and plenty of snow. So, welcome everyone. Alrighty, now I can see faces. Those of you who are on the phone and you're not able to have a video where I can see you or we can see each other, when you do it on the phone, if you wanted to email questions, because I'll be asking people if they have any questions during the class, if you want to email a question, Leslie will pick up on the question and we'll be able to add that in to other people having questions also. So that should work out quite nicely. Now, the background I mentioned is Forest Temple at Lowydale, New York. We're not exactly there now. We're down in Florida and having a wonderful time. We just got back from our cruise, and that was a great time over there. So we're just going to do some things tonight. And what I'd like to start with is astral travel and the idea of what we do experience on our own astrally. And some people really tie it in with dreams. And I've had a lot of people say to me, well, they would dream something. And actually, they were astrally traveling and communicating in other dimensions, other levels. I don't believe we're the only dimension here on a conscious level. We're certainly having many dimensions beyond that. I sometimes refer to things as a soul mind as well as the physical mind or conscious mind. And when we're working on things in such a conscious way, I find that there's a lot of confusion between what people refer to as a dream and what we actually experience by being out of the body and actually going somewhere or being somewhere in an altered state or an altered situation of communication. I many times have had dreams or astrally been places where you could see and feel and smell and touch, and it's just completely real. I've actually had it happen where I'd wake up and think, did I do that? Or is this just a dream? And is it something I've already done? Or is it the future? And I feel each of you had something occur that would be similar in some form. And we're needing to follow through on what we're feeling. I really feel the world changes around us are becoming pretty drastic at times. And I'm not talking just the political stuff and things like that. I really feel with everything on the planet going on, people are under more stress, more confusion, and I find people being more upset and uptight. And I've seen people go through two different ways of dealing with it. Either they're rushing around like crazy people trying to do everything, or I've seen some people get into really a depressed state of mind and go through some things emotionally that would be very draining. I've been feeling that with spirit, we have many things from the past that are now availing themselves to us that we're recognizing. Now, I know some people talk about astrology and how the energy works, and that we're having things surface in life now that we may have ignored or not been in tune to for years. And this is what I believe is happening, and I'll put it in my terms. I feel whatever we have not handled and not taken into our life and dealt with, it's all coming back to us now that we may have bypassed. And there's never a time we can really get away from it. We do have to deal with it. I see people all the time ignoring things for a while, but yet it's going to come back. I've had some people say, well, it'll come back to bite you. And it's something that we're needing to be aware of, that I see those energies very prevalent right now. The things from the past are coming up, things we thought we dealt with, or we thought we got past them or avoided them, and they're turning around now and coming up in front of us. And to be alert to that and aware of that is something I feel everyone needs to be a little more thoughtful about. And as we're looking at things in an astral manner, I know there's times that I sort of click out. I'll be sitting and relaxing. And I know Leslie said to me a few times, you went to sleep. Well, there's times I'm sure I'd go to sleep, but there's other times where I step out and I know I'm not there and I'm in another dimensional level. And there's times I bring back information that's given to me or that I have experiences where I'm experiencing events Now, sometimes past, sometimes future events. I've had a few things happen recently where I think it was a dream form. And I remembered having things, and I said to her that, this is future. This isn't really present or past. This is future. I believe that the veil between the spirit side of life and our ability to be in tune at times is really getting thinner than usual, and that we have the ability to tap into it more than what we're used to. And say it this way: how many of you have had emotional things occurring that sometimes you feel like, why would I be so emotional, or why would that hit me that hard, when normally you wouldn't think of it as doing that, whatever the event may be? And I find the events are occurring, and we're more sensitive and more open and more aware to all these things occurring. And we're reaching a point where I see a lot of people, some more than others, becoming reactionary to the energy they're feeling. And I've had a number of people that I read for, they've even admitted that they're really more wound up and more uptight than what they'd normally be. And some of them don't even know why. And I believe that we're all becoming more in tune and more sensitive in a manner that we're not used to. And it keeps expanding for us, which I think is a wonderful thing. But we're needing to recognize in ourselves, how much do we commit energy to things that we're now realizing we need to step back from and not commit that energy. In other words, where are we investing time, energy, love, and emotion? And are we putting it into things that are creating more disruption for us? Or are we putting it into things that are really going to be a calmer, more centered, more anchored energy? And it's a choice we're making. And I feel consciously we're making that choice. I've had a number of people recently that I read for that I feel an energy with, that they're coming back to the point of saying, I need to meditate, I need to pray more, I need to do some yoga, I need to do some things to be centered and be calm. I felt that's a wonderful energy for all of us right now. And again, varied energies with each person, but I've had so many people that would be really calm people having events occurring where they're getting really, really wound up emotionally. And to recognize and understand that and work in a positive way that we bring balance back and really bring the balance back there, bring the harmony back in. I've worked with spirit all my life, and I know there's times when I feel out of whack on things, where I feel the energy is not a flow of energy. I always try to sit back and just step into a calmness and recalculate, recenter ourselves in a sense of thinking, feeling, sensitivity. I believe a lot of us are going through what I would term as a transition from what we were used to and in tune to an energy now that's shifting. I sometimes refer to it as a plateau. We're in a plateau and we're used to it, and we function very well in it, and it really becomes an easy energy for us. And then all of a sudden we start noticing that we're not as in tune, not as focused, not as centered, and we're shifting energy to another plateau. And it's not just us in a conscious way making that change. I believe that those changes occur periodically in our lives. And I feel that everyone right now is being affected by that, and each to their own scale of timing. But I find the effect of that is really pretty powerful. I've had some people that are really having some experiences with depression energy that is really heavy duty, and I've also had some people that experiences that they didn't know what to do with everything hitting them all at once. I've had one person where they had 3 deaths in just a matter of like a 5 or 6 month time span, lost a job, had a car accident. I mean, all kinds of things occurring. And I find that what we've not dealt with or accepted, it's coming at us. And to be aware of how to handle it is a very positive thing for us now. And to recognize in ourselves that that balance is something we can be in balance, we can be in harmony, but we're having to look at it. And I would say one of the simplest guidelines would be, this I can do something about. There's other things I can do nothing about. And just run it light in prayer is fine, but no longer take it on as we have to fix or change it, because there's things we can't. and we just have to ride out the energies that are there. And I feel very good, like this year coming here now, we're in the beginning of the year. I feel very good about this year with the changes that are coming. And I know some people will be upset and uptight over things because they may not like all the shifts of energy. But what we've avoided and pushed away, I feel is going to surface this year and be stronger than normal. And that we're needing to really recognize the acceptance of that. And I know we can get through it without a problem, but we're needing to be aware of that acceptance. There's so many people push things away so rapidly, so quickly, and in a sense run from it, and it catches up with them. And I feel in a meditative and focused manner spiritually, let's set our energies up to take on whatever we're needing to deal with and put it in God's hands and light in the first place. That way we're bringing balance. And that's been a very important factor. I've been feeling Spirit's presence stronger. Just this evening, I was feeling one of the cats that we've had that passed over, and the name was Ghost. And I was feeling her presence so strongly that I couldn't put her out of my mind. It's like she kept coming through. And I saw the shadows under the table and around the TV and the different movements of the animal with us. And I find that veil between the spirit world and us is getting thin at times. And I feel each one of you may have had experiences that would show that in your own life, and to be aware of spirit there that's guide us and open us to mind and matter happening, movements of objects possibly. And the idea of having thoughts pop in our head that's not our thinking, it's not a forcefulness consciously, it's something that spirit would be bringing to us. I've had things happen in my mind, like I was sitting and watching TV the one time, and Spirit said to me to look at my phone. And I picked up the phone and looked at it, and it was the front door of Lloydale with the doorbell camera. And I didn't turn it on. I didn't go to that. I didn't do the procedure to open it up and have it there, but they were showing me the front door. So I think we're going to have more happening, and I just see the veil getting thin. And to be aware of the idea that being open to it and in tune to it will be incredibly helpful. Now, we have quite a few people on right now, and I don't see cameras on everyone. I think we only got like 4 that I'm seeing on the camera. And those of you that have called on the phone, if you would go ahead and send in an email as to a question you have, and those of you that I can see, if you would raise your hand and see if you have any question about this, and we'll open it up to some questions. Anyone want to raise their hand for a question? Yes.
All right. Lucille.
Lucille?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. It's funny this topic came up. I was just having a discussion about it today with a friend of mine. And in my personal life, I've exactly what you're saying. I've been having more dreams about people that have passed, and I've been trying to get centered and meditate more and try to, I feel, that like an upsetting energy kind of thing happening for myself.
Yes.
And after I have these very vivid dreams about my people that I know that have passed, I felt like they were trying to give me a message, certainly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But even if it was positive, I felt upset about it. And I was wondering, is there a way to dissipate that?
Well, I would look at it in this form. When you're feeling upset about it, was it the message they were giving you, or was it the disturbance of the communication and in a sense of the actual communication occurring, and a part of you was feeling disturbed with that?
Well, it was not the message.
Okay.
But I found myself worried about the people who have passed, wondering if they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I could see they were okay.
Yes.
So I don't know what that is, Well, it wasn't the message. The message was, it was pleasant. It was nice to see them.
Mm-hmm.
But I found myself worrying about them.
Well, I'll put it this way. I feel the energy that's occurring around us at this time, we're becoming I wouldn't term it overly sensitive, but we're having things occur that may be unusual to our consciousness or what we're used to.
Mhm.
And a part of us would want to pull back a little bit and be a little more in control of what's happening and feel a little, not say threatened, but a little disturbed by all the things occurring. And we're needing to relax with the idea of knowing that they're helping us all the time.
Mhm.
And to not worry about the window being open in a sense of communication, because it really is wonderful. And I feel in your case, I see spirit coming in quite a bit and quite often. And I feel surprisingly, people don't always look at that as something that necessarily they want to see because they're like, well, I don't know what's going to come through. I'm afraid of what would come through. And I feel with you, it's not what would come through, but I see you not feeling completely comfortable with not being in control of making those choices.
Well, I feel like it's not so much. I maybe it's because I'm surprised at how strong the
Yeah,
connection is.
the
And it's
clarity
not.
of
I like the
everything.
connection. I kind of expect the connection in a way for
Yeah.
dreams and stuff, but they're very strong.
Well, that's what I mean by the veil getting thin. And I feel the veil's getting thin in many ways. And we're just needing to be really alert to the idea of allowing it because it's meant to be. And
Okay.
to sit back and relax with the idea that the clarity may come through in incredibly vivid ways that we're maybe not used to. Or
Yeah.
we, and I'll put it this way, many of us have strived for that ability to be that in tune and tap into all these things. And now it's like, okay, here we are, we're coming in. And I feel sometimes we can get a little freaked out by it.
Well, that's kind of what I've been working on for the last couple of years. And I guess, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah. No, I had someone that's a client of mine recently make a comment to me that she thought she was losing her mind because she was seeing shadows and movements in her home that she couldn't really depict what they were, but it's just shadows and movements. And I said to her, I said, well, it's a stage of understanding and it's a stage of opening up.
Yeah.
And I feel with you, you've had more clarity on some of the things than just seeing a random shadow. And you're going to have more coming through in a stronger way. And
Okay.
I felt wonderful with it. But I want to say, let yourself go with it. There's never a thing that spirit doesn't give us we can't handle. There's no real issue with that.
Yeah.
And it's the idea of allowing it. And you have a guiding influence with you that, the old spiritualists would refer to it as a doorkeeper. And there's that protection energy that they'll open the door enough for the information to come through, but it's not going to be something overwhelming to you, but a need to relax and allow it. And
Okay.
I
Thank
see
you.
that coming in more and being stronger. And don't be surprised if you have some physical things happen in your life around you of them bumping things, moving things, making noise with things. And I feel that will be coming up more. And I feel like you've had a couple small objects move in your home already.
I had noises today
Yes.
that I couldn't explain. It
Yeah.
was it was in a voice, and I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't explain it. It's me and the cats here tonight.
Yes. And that's what I mean is there's going to be more happening because the veil is at times very thin and spirit is so pleased to be able to reach through and touch in with us and let us know they're not only there, but in many ways can be a message factor too of really giving us a guidance and giving us a message. And remember also those on the spirit side that maybe have had a difficulty reaching through to their own families. You
Mhm.
may know the person. I've had it happen many times where I would know someone on the earth plane and one of the relatives would come in through me to give them a message.
Mhm.
And I find that's happened quite a bit more where I feel the energy and it's happened, very strongly. So be aware of that occurring more because it's going to happen more often for you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Rosanna.
Hi, I have a question. As far as the things that we see, the shadows and stuff like
Yeah.
that, is there some way to like stop, not stop, but figure out how to make sure that whatever comes through is good, or that you're not seeing something maybe more negative, or how to protect yourself, I guess.
Well, let's put it this way. If we focus in the light and we're focusing in the positive energy, my father used to say to me at times, all guts and no brains, because I would trust what I felt and I would just totally go with it, no matter what it was. And I feel with you that you've had some experiences that you could definitely look at and say, frighten you or would have made you pull back a bit and not allow yourself to be quite so open. But
Right.
I feel an energy there that the proverbial surrounding yourself in light and having that as a blessing in that form's fine. And what other form you would have that you want to utilize? I mean, like when I do a meditation group or circle, I always surround the circle with light. I fill the circle with spirit energy. I ask them to give us healing and guidance and share with us. And I feel with you that you can, in a private way, even if you're just by yourself, set that same intent.
Okay.
And that way, I do it all the time. Before I do a reading, I do a prayer. Before I started this class tonight, I do a prayer. I always surround myself in light and bring in the highest and the best. And that's where I feel by setting an intent and whatever wording, you're choosing to use, that's just fine because the intent energy is there and very strong.
Okay.
And I believe we all have guides and teachers and loved ones around us. And like I said to the other lady there with the doorkeepers, we have the spirit world that watches over us and is very protective. And if
Okay.
we're setting that link and we're making that link spiritually, we're not going to have a problem. Where we walk in the light, if we have the light around us, we're not creating a shadow image of energy to be harmful or negative. I've had some people that have said to me, you trust and you just go with what you trust.
Okay.
And I recognize some of my guides by name, and I recognize some of my guides by just feeling their energy. And I would have never known their name. To share this with everyone, I have a few entities that come in that I have felt and recognized their energy all my life, and they're with me, their guidance, their protection. But I had a guide say to me one time, you don't need to know the name because you pray to God and we're the angels that come and guide, help, and protect. And I find that some people go off on thoughts of prayer towards loved ones and everything, which is fine. I have no judgment of that. But I was always taught, my grandmother used to me when I was very, very young, put your hand in Jesus' hand, Jesus will guide you. Well, I've always been in that space of belief in the light and that there's nothing out there going to harm you. If we're doing things in the right way for the right reasons, I really don't believe anything's going to be there to be disruptive. I
Okay.
have dealt with negative energies. I have seen, recognized, and dealt with negative energies. I have been places where I've cleared homes and I've cleared actually tombs at times. And I've worked with people that I used to use a pen name, and I won't go into a big issue with this, but I'll say it this way. I worked with police, I worked with people, I worked with the FBI, I worked with a lot of different people, and I would use a pen name, so I was never really known as to the person being involved in the investigations. And we had a lot of successes. And I haven't done that now for a few years, and I've just stayed away from it because it's a drawing in of negative energy because you have to feel and know and be in tune to it to be able to work with it. And I find it's an energy that I just don't really desire to work with, and there's no need to. I've done radiology for years, and I remember many times having with TV, there was a few people at high levels that would want me to go out and investigate circumstances that occurred of murders and things like that, and I did. And I remember coming home one time, and a friend of mine called me on the phone, and he said, "I know your walk." He says, "Even though they blurred you out," he says, "I know that was you." And I find it interesting, the veil getting thin now, and we're feeling and knowing more. Don't be afraid. The spirit world would just absolutely love to communicate with all of us and would love to reach us in a way that we'd really understand. So let's have that trust there that you're surrounding yourself in light, and as long as you're doing it, you're fine.
Okay.
All
Thank you.
right. You're welcome. Any other question? Anyone else have a question?
Well, Caroline, and then we'll go to Leah.
Hi, Caroline.
Hello, Gregory. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Looking forward to spring when it gets
Yes.
lighter.
Yes.
Indeed, yes, it's getting lighter, and I can see, and it's making me feel better too. So here is a question that is different, I suppose. Last year, I worked in Palmdale, and it was a very, very negative place. And unfortunately, while I was there was a very young man. His name was Marcus, and he was a very good person. Well, Marcus committed suicide,
Yes.
and he committed suicide, and he wasn't it was almost a year prior to him committing suicide. Another guy from the same place killed himself too. And most of the reason I feel was based on a romantic disappointment. I'm not positive. I was beating myself about it up at work in the cafeteria right after it happened. And I was like, I could have been kinder to him. I could have been more supportive. I was kind of feeling guilty that I had not really done everything in my power to go and help him, because he was new
Yeah.
to the project. And well, so then he came to me, and I saw him in the lunchroom. So I knew he was okay. And I was very angry with him for, killing himself. And he did so in a very violent way with a handgun out in the desert. Anyway, long story short, a mutual friend, Tom, I spoke with this past week, and his father just died. So he's got to go out to Pennsylvania to, go to the funeral for his father and whatnot. And I told Tom, and I think I flipped him out, I see dead people kind of thing. But I know that he felt better. And I told him, ask your dad to, he'll be at the funeral. These are my thoughts, that your dad will be at his funeral, and talk to him there.
Mhm.
So, I'm very, I'm at the beginning grounds of this. I mean, I know I'm an empath, and I can feel and hear and sense things. But I mean, the seeing part, that's getting to be more, like you said. I didn't really see them so much before. It's probably because I didn't want to see them. I don't have problems with it because, like you said, it's more surround yourself in the light.
Yeah.
I know Marcus is fine. I know everybody's fine that's passed over,
Well, I think you're going to have more experiences of that opening up, but I feel like you're going from a background of what your belief system would be, and a religious belief system would be, and what influences you've had from childhood on up. And I feel the influences you've had there, I still feel sparks of that are at times reflecting in your present time. And it's something that the need to know that as long as you're surrounding yourself in the light, and you're doing things in a positive way, like the young man that died with suicide, the feeling I had with him was it was a destiny for him to leave and go on. No matter what happened or how he left, it was a destiny that he as a soul was leaving. And I felt an energy with him that he's at peace, because when you felt the presence in the lunchroom and you knew he was there, I feel he was at peace then. And I
Yes.
feel he had more turmoil in his life than anybody would ever know. And I feel that your ability to feel the energy there and recognize he was all right, that's wonderful, because he is all right. And I feel he wanted to reassure you, because he was reaching out to give you healing energy for the turmoil you were in.
Oh, good Lord. And been a roller coaster of political backstabbing, and welcome to the corporate world. Yeah.
And that's where he was reaching out to you to help you with healing. and he was fine and is fine. And I just see him reaching out in a loving manner to give you energy because he knew you recognized and you had the emotional response, to him leaving.
Yeah. So, well, okay. So I'm very glad that the hard part that I have in the understanding and the belief is the committing suicide, because I was just reading another book by a medium, and there was a bipolar guy and he committed suicide, and she said the same thing that you're saying right now, which was it was that person's time to leave, that soul's time to leave. But
Yes.
being a Catholic or whatnot, so a non-practicing Catholic, uh, the suicide, that there's such a negative, there's such a, and I understand there's mental illness and that's all wrapped up into that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things you need to realize too, I know in the Catholic religion, I've heard many, many priests as well as people talk about purgatory and being purgatory. And I don't understand all the guidelines of what a priest would understand, but I'll put it this way. I believe we have little rest periods, no matter what religion we are or belief system we are. We have little rest periods over there that when we step from this physical side of life to the spirit side of life, we then recognize that we're left in a neutral state for a bit to fully understand and accept how it works over there. And it's really a learning process of what we do here and how we think here really doesn't work over there in that same manner. And I've had many times spirit come back and they would say to me, on the physical side of life, we can be very demanding and forceful and try to make things occur. And our belief system would be a real conscious forcefulness of whatever we're thinking and doing. And on the spirit side of life, I refer to it as an example of saying, here's the ball floating in the pool. And if we just tiptoe towards it very gently and very easily, it's in the palm of our hand. But if we charge at it swimming, we just push it away with the wake. And we have to learn not to push things away with the wake on the spirit side. And I feel that there's a little period of time of learning and allowing ourselves to accept that balance and harmony over there. I've had people that recognize their lessons that they didn't handle on the earth plane very well at times. And on the spirit side, they come back and they're apologetic to children and they're apologetic to mates and different things that, like, you know, I wasn't equipped to handle it, or I wasn't equipped to understand it, or I wasn't equipped to deal with the issues at hand there. And on the spirit side, they are. And they're coming back to help bring balance and harmony and healing to the people that are here. I get that in readings all the time that they'll come through. And for you to understand and feel all these energies, I feel an energy with you needing to slow down a little bit and be able to really create a little more protection around you of not having everything come in so, let's say, abundant and pour into you, because it ends up a little confusing at times. And I see you spinning it out at an arm's reach and be able to say, I have it out at the arm's reach. And now when I open the door to it, it's coming in, but it's one thing at a time. Because you
Oh,
sometimes
that'd be awesome.
you get multiple things coming in, and at times it becomes very confusing. And there's other times you feel like you have to pull back and almost shut down at times.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because the empath thing, when you feel other people's feelings, and most of people's feelings are negative. Oh my God, is it draining?
Well,
And,
when
and
I was a child, I remember going to a hospital with my mom, and we're walking through the hallway of the hospital, and I was holding mom's hand, and I had to be maybe, I don't know, 8, 7, 8, and we're walking along, and I saw this woman standing in the doorway, and I said hello to her, and I was sending her healing because I felt she was in pain. And as we walked by the room, when I walked by the room and a nurse is taking us to wherever we needed to go to visit this other person. And I looked in the room, the lady was laying in bed and she had morphine on her and all kinds of things going on with cancer. And that she was standing by the door, but she stepped out of her body. And she was standing by the door and I could feel the impact of her energy and what she was going through. And my mom pulled on my hand and she said to me, she said, only talk to the ones that are in the body, because the nurse turned around and looked at me like, who's this crazy little kid talking and there's nobody there? And I felt all those energies all the time. And I learned to bring balance to it, that I would just quietly in my mind speak to them and send them the thought and send them the healing without making it obvious on the earth plane level. And I feel with you, sometimes you pick up on things and you start responding to it, and it's something that can get a little overwhelming at times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always overwhelming. All I do anymore is just pray for peace. I'm like,
Well, I think it's something in a meditative manner. You bring balance to the idea of the meditation, create a bubble around yourself. It's almost like a plexiglass bubble in a sense of saying it's like touchscreen. Anything I want to be in tune to, I can be in tune to, and I'm aware of, and I'm not losing sensitivity, but I am not allowing it to pour into me. I refer to as pouring into the heart center and you're overwhelmed by all the energies coming at you. Have them at an arm's reach where then you can bring balance to what you're doing. Okay?
thank you. I will. I will definitely do that.
God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you too.
Who's next, Leslie?
Leah.
Leah? Hi,
Hello.
Leah.
Hi. I had a question when you were talking about the veil becoming thinner and investing time, energy, and emotion and centering.
Yes.
I was a psychologist and a counselor for many years. I'm retired now, but I have people who are have very difficult energies, who are in serious problems in life, who call me, who continue to call me, and I do try to work with them the best that I can.
Mm.
I'm not sure if you know how that impacts then my ability to maintain, um, like to be able to work with spirit outside of that, because there's a level of energy at which it takes when you're dealing with people in the physical world, their spirits, and then
Yes.
there's a different level of energy when you're dealing with spirit outside. But this
Sure.
past year, I've received unbelievable amounts of blessing and help from spirit.
Yeah.
So much so that I don't even know how I could be worthy of getting all the help that I received over this past year in moving my life forward into retirement. And
Mm.
I'm not sure, because part of my goal in retirement was to be able, I want to work more with spirits without the bodies, because I've worked with spirits, through people who are on earth for so long. I wanted to kind of move into a different level, but
Yes.
I'm not sure how to transition so
Well,
much.
you're already transitioning, because I feel an energy with you that, number one, spirit works through you so well, and you helping the people you're helping. Even when you were, quote, working, I feel spirit work through you, and it wasn't just you consciously there or just the training you went through to be the counselor. I feel like spiritually you already had the gift. And when you went to school for everything you went to school for, that was hanging a plaque on the wall in a tangible physical form. But in reality, you were already the counselor.
Okay.
And I feel now there's a tapping in spiritually to allowing it to work. And on some levels, not everyone, because there's a lot of people you really help and they're really responsive and they really need it. And there's a few people there that I'm going to put it in this term. There's a few people there that are in greed, not need. And I see them setting things up in their lives that they present the idea of need. And really, in reality, they're in greed. And if they can pull on you and pull energy from you, they will. And I see them like leeches. They just keep sucking you dry. And not that everyone is, because you got a lot of people that are wonderful, but I feel like you're becoming more aware of not being as available for some of the individuals that are calling, that are really the ones that are in greed, not need. And I feel you're starting to weed that out. And on the idea of working with spirit more, I feel with you that you can do more in a telepathic manner, and the idea of healing, absent healing, and you're putting out the energy for healing, and you're sending that energy to everyone that you have been in contact with.
No, I see exactly what you're saying. You're able to put into words what I can't verbalize, but I know to be true. So
Yes.
yes, yes,
And
and I understand the difference too.
it's working very well for you, and I see you thoroughly enjoying it. Another aspect of that that I think you'd really enjoy, as well as would be a part of your life, is being able to be in a group where you can sit in meditation and you
Mm,
can sit
yeah.
with working with your mediumship and be able to share the energy of messages and guidance back and forth. I think that'd be fantastic for you because that's going to help make the shift from the physical plane of everything and deal with all the spirits that are in the body, as well as then have more connection with the spirits that are out of the body
Mhm.
and what they can do to enhance what you're already doing. And it's going to work better. What city do you live in?
I'm in the Villages, Florida.
Okay. We're in the
So I'm
village
very
of
close.
Florida. We're in Lady Lake.
Yes, yes. I'm right by Wildwood, yes.
Okay.
So
Well,
we're
we
by Charlotte.
we
We
haven't
both
got going yet, but I
Mhm.
want to set up a circle, a development circle. And if you were to email us so we can let you know if we're going to get that going, we would let you know then that you could come and join in
Yes, I would very much like that. Thank you very much.
because that's one of the things I want to be doing. And I was planning to do earlier, but we've had so much going on getting down here this year
Mhm.
that we haven't pushed to start that yet.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. God bless you. Anyone else have a question? We have
Chris
uh,
does.
Chris. Yes.
It's really not a question. I was just going to make a remark. I think y'all are in my head tonight. All the things that have been discussed, I've experienced in detail. I'm seeing my dead cat,
Hmm.
but just little something to share about astral projection, if you don't mind. This
Go
happened
ahead.
a while ago. I had a dream of being in a port city with some other people, including a relative who I think is now passed, or looking for that relative or whatever. And I wish I'd written it down. I had a name of where I was and a very distinct visual memory. So when I woke up, I couldn't help myself. I got on Google, and I knew it was Indonesia, a place that I have absolutely zero interest in ever visiting, and phonetically looking around the map, and I found the town, the city, in an inlet, and I Google Earthed it, and I saw what I saw in my dream in detail. I
Yes.
put front building and transportation center. It was a port city. I wish I could remember now the name or had written it down. And I'm kind of tingling while I'm telling you about this. No reason for it. I mean, as I say, I wasn't really interested in that part of the world at all, but there it was. In,
Hmm.
and that's just all I wanted to share with you tonight.
Well, I find it interesting, Chris, that you're tapping into things, and that's a totally another part of the world, and you were there, things there, and I find that there's a message for that, and it may be connected to travel, that you may be going somewhere that has nothing to do with that place, but going on a trip somewhere that you would be choosing to go on, and it is something you may not have thought of right now, but I feel the door is going to open for it.
Thank you. I had zero idea. I thought it was just one of those fluky things. I
Mhm.
didn't I didn't squeeze it for meaning because it had none. It was just terribly vivid. And I shouldn't say terribly, it was not a bad experience. It was neutral, but boy, was it there.
Well, that's what I find happening in the world right now is more people are having more experiences like that. And it's not only very powerful, but the vividness of it's amazing. And that's what I feel coming around us, and it's going to be occurring more. And we're needing to open ourselves to the idea that those of you that feel like you're not in tune or you're not fully aware of what you're sensing and feeling, there's a need to know that it's a blessing. We're in the right timing to open up to it, and to set our intent and thought and prayer in that direction is going to bring balance and bring the opportunities of sharing and communicating with spirit more. And it'll come in much more clearly And it really becomes easy. I had one lady say to me that she said, I thought I was losing my marbles, because she said, how could it happen that easily when all these years it didn't happen? And here it is now happening, and it's really happening easily for her. And she even had an experience of seeing her pets that passed over. And she also had an experience where her father came through, and her father said to her, you know, he had been Catholic and very devout Catholic and would have never opened the door to these things. And he came through to her and said, heaven is different than what I had originally believed. And I want you to know I'm there for you, and I pray for you, and I'm working with the guidance and energy that Spirit is helping us all. And it's something that I feel astrally we're needing to know, that we function in so many dimensions all the time, way beyond what we're consciously aware of. I remember when I was in meditation a lot, I was utilizing meditation sometimes 2-3 times a day for a while. I was focusing on that. And the experience I would have is I would have what you could say is like a daydreaming, but yet it's a visual of seeing things and feeling things that would be futuristic, and it would be almost like a dream state. And I remember that happening, and the events would come to me that were coming up, and I would have them happen then the next day or even that evening. I've had it occur the same day. I've had it occur maybe 2-3 days later. But it's something that once you're in tune to that energy and you're allowing that to happen, it's going to be a blessing, because it's really going to help you and you're going to have recognition. Also, remember something. Don't think about seeing things as something really big, something really little. It's an event to be aware of, and the size of it is opposed to, you know, we consciously imagine things that, oh, this was a big deal and this was a little thing. There's no such thing as a little thing. It's a reactionary level we have on a conscious basis, but in reality, when Spirit communicates with us, it's a big thing. And it doesn't matter whether it's a glimpse of Spirit, a glimpse of a pet, remembering a dream, because there will be a message involved in it. It's just that we sometimes sort of blow it off as, well, what could that possibly mean? And we blow it off. Or we try to overanalyze it and we dissect it to the point that there's nothing left to dissect. And we're needing to follow through in what we're feeling. And this is where I feel now the whole conscious of the planet is awakening to feeling. And a reactionary level on a conscious basis is not really feeling. When I say feeling, I'm talking spiritually. What we are feeling is right, what we follow, what we go with. You know, like my father always said to me that, you know, I don't know how you do what you do, because you just go with what you're feeling. And I find that if we go with what we're feeling, and it's not the conscious basis, it's what God is giving us and Spirit's giving us, huge difference in guidance and huge difference in events. Spirit can be ahead of us, planning things and lining things up for us to have such harmony. And we at times muck it up by our own conscious level of choices and forcefulness. And sometimes our little egos get involved in the sense of what we want to do or how we want to do it. And I find that Spirit's never given me less. It's always given me more. And, you know, you talk about manifesting and working with manifesting. That's why I always set the intent out there for whatever event, whatever thing you want to do in life. Set that intent out there and let Spirit run with it. I've never had anything that was what I asked for. I always ended up with something better yet. So don't think about it as an issue of looking at things in a sense of, okay, I've had a couple people say to me, well, I wanted this car and I wanted that color and, you know, everything on it. And I have to laugh, because it's like, you know, why are we tying things down and limiting ourselves in our process of thought? Because every time we have something that we, in a sense, put out the energy for, are we limiting ourselves to that? Or we needing to recognize that we need to put out the intent for that and not tie it down. Let Spirit handle it. They'll bring us the highest and best for whatever need we have in life, whatever desire we have in life. I know Spirit will help us reach it. Any other questions? Yes.
We have Gila.
Hi, I've been noticing that I'm getting, like, when I'm speaking, if I'm saying something I think that is maybe a truth or um, on a higher level, like I get these, like this sort of like tingles coming out of my
Yes.
crown chakra. And I just was wondering if you could talk about what that might be.
Well, what it amounts to easily is a symbol of conferment. And whatever you're having come through and you're getting that response in the body, the physical body response, it's reassuring you that that's from spirit and that's the direction to go and that's a choice that would be a good one. And we're needing to realize that we can do that in testing. You know, some people talk about muscle testing and they use muscle testing to check vitamins and all kinds of things. And we can utilize that. I mean, I remember walking in a health food store one day, and a lady was standing there, and she had her fingers in front of her, and she was muscle testing using the strength in her fingers. And I walked up to her and I said, well, wouldn't it be easier to put it on your solar plexus? Have I got a good feeling? Have I got a bad feeling? Does it energize me or does it weaken me? And it's something there that many people use the testing in a physical strength manner, which is fine, but we can also be in tune to looking at an object. I had a friend of mine, we were at dinner one time, and he's one of these, been in the service and been in the army, and he was in Vietnam before Vietnam was Vietnam, and he went through a lot in his life, and he was a smoker. And he said to me, how healthy. Now, this is a big, physically strong, strapping guy. And I said to him, I said, you know, he was challenging me on muscle testing. And he said to me, he goes, that's a bunch of malarkey, you know. I'm strong. So I said, okay, Michael, close your eyes. And I handed him something that was a positive energy. And he was strong as an ox. You could hang on his arm. And I said to him, I said, now I'm going to hand you this. I handed him his cigarettes. And his arm went down to his side like a flipping tail on a fish. And he opened his eyes and looked at what was in his hand, and he couldn't believe it was the cigarettes. So be aware, our body and our sensations that we feel are very true. When we're getting out of the way analytically and we're allowing the body to respond, it will tell us what's good and what's bad, what we need, what we don't need. And that works very, very well. And when you're having those confirmants of that spinal or like head chakra, you're having it happen where it's really a confirmant to you. Plus, I feel with you, you're having some things come to you to say that it wasn't you thinking it. It was a truth coming through that would have been said through you, but it was a truth that it was outside of you and was given to you to share.
Yeah, because it happens when I'm teaching or counseling a lot.
Yeah. And you've had it happen where within a boundary of counseling, let's say, you know, there's things you're supposedly not supposed to do. And I feel you've learned to sort of filter that a bit and be able to say things you need to say to bring them open and get them open to share what they're needing to share. And that's a good energy for you. And you know Spirit's doing it because it wasn't you that thought of it. It was what came through to you to share.
Mm-hmm.
And you're picking up on subjects, you're picking up on events, and you may say something to someone and they're going to think in their mind, how in the world does she know that? How does she understand that this happened to me? And I've had that happen countless times, and I know you're having that happen, and you're learning to be able to get around the guidelines and rules a little bit there. They could get to the heart of what's going on with someone and draw that out where it can be dealt with in a more healing manner than it would be to try to keep digging and digging and digging just on a conscious basis.
Mm-hmm.
And you're utilizing that gift as a flow of energy through you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gina.
Gina?
Gina. Gina.
Hi, Greg.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Well, it's been just a really chaotic week. I'm listening to
Yes.
all of these people talking about their experiences, and I've been trying to make myself more open and just kind of go with the flow, the old hippie word, you know? And it just seems like everybody is giving me things that I need to do that is like impeding my peaceful state.
Yes.
And I don't quite, I mean, it's just overwhelming. I mean, it's everywhere. And I don't quite know how to set the intent to, I mean, to navigate through it, I just kind of go with the next thing I feel I should do
Yes.
and prioritize. But I don't know how to escape the chaos.
Well, let's say it this way. What you just said was a form of escaping the chaos, because what you're doing is you're having so much coming at you that you've had to utilize your intuitive ability. You've had to utilize your ability to separate yourself from the chaos. And it's not just a conscious separation, but it's spiritually, I'm aware of it, it's there, I know it, but I'm able to have harmony in the midst of disharmony. And no matter what they're saying or guiding or directing or suggesting, it's like, God bless them. You know, there's a sincere energy with a lot of that, but it's something that you're bringing balance to yourself. And I'm seeing you learning to use your feeling as to, is what this person said the answer or a part of the answer? And there's some other people saying things that you know are just really off the wall and it has nothing to do with an answer.
Right.
And I feel that let's look at this as a learning process, because what's happening here is you're being pushed really hard on the idea of following what you uniquely internally feel. And
Right.
if you didn't have the pressure, it wouldn't be as easy for you to really clarify it and see what you're feeling.
Well, I mean, I feel like I can never get my things done for myself.
Right.
And it's getting to be like a crisis. You
Mm-hmm.
know? I mean, it's not really a crisis. I just have piles of things that I need to do. And
And
everybody else has piles of things they want me to do.
yes.
And we can't all have our things done. So,
Well, that's where I feel with you. I'll put it in two parts. One is work part. It's like I'm doing what I need to do, and I'm accomplishing what required of me to do at work. I'm done with work, and I go home.
mhm,
And when I go home, I now have more of a choice to say, what am I investing my time, energy, love, and emotions in? And to start eliminating the people that are pulling on you and really pulling on you in ways that they want. But in reality, you're not getting your life in the balance and harmony you're needing to be in. And you're being really put to the test on that. And now I feel the need to, in a meditative, calm manner, focus on yourself more in a way of just being calmer and not look at it as what project or problem I have to fix, but look at it as you becoming calmer, because in the calmness, the clarity comes in. And the clarity then is going to be real easy for you then to follow through on the steps that you really need to take. And again, that's your intuitive level giving you the steps you really need to take. And it's not a circumstance of everybody else influencing you and pulling you off and, let's say, diverting you into all these other things. Because you got some people around you there that, God bless them, but they're a little bit selfish.
mhm. Right. Right. Well, I hear all these other people talking about their physical signs that the veil is thin for them. And
Hmm.
I just feel like they can't get through my veil. I don't know. I feel like mine is not thin or something. Do you think I'm,
Well,
what
I
else do I
feel
do?
that you're going to have more happen, and that's one of the reasons why you're having some of the chaotic energy around you, is it's making you really utilize your ability, and it's pushing you to the point of saying, I need to be true to myself. What am I feeling?
Mhm,
And even though you could be in a room with everyone shouting, it's like I can have that quiet moment of feeling what I need to feel and feel it as guidance. And that's what I'm seeing you tapping into, because you've dealt with a lot of chaos in your life. And I
mhm,
feel that you're now stepping aside from it and looking at it and thinking, if they want to live that way and be that way and act that way and do those things, fine, have at it. But I'm not going to plug in with them in that same energy. You know, I have to separate that energy and have that reprieve where I can have more of a calmness.
in the middle of it, when I'm in the middle of it, do you have some words for me that I could think to myself? I mean, if I start talking out loud about this at work, they'll just shoot me.
Well, if you were really saying what you're thinking at work, they would all shoot you.
Yeah, they would. Especially this last week, yeah.
Well, I feel the energy there that I would focus on something real simple. And it's like, even if you needed to go and use the restroom as an escape, and it's like, go in the restroom for a moment, have silence, have a quiet moment, and just reaffirm you surround yourself in that light and calmness. And to come back out of there, and it's like, now I have this shield around me that I can witness what's going on. I've not lost awareness or attunement, but I'm not carrying it within me. It's not penetrating me.
Yeah, it's really hard to keep that barrier there sometimes.
Yeah. And I see people there that are very disruptive in a sense that you could be doing something, and no matter what you're doing, they'd approach you and want to divert you at that second.
Right.
And you're learning to just, it's like be in a calm state and just put your hand up. And it's like you're stopping their energy. You're bringing your energy to balance and harmony. Now we deal with them.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Listen, we're after the hour now. At least on my watch, we are. Is there one more question, and I'll close the class.
Jessica.
Jessica. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
You hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Hi. I have a question. Last like a year, I try to ignore when I feel negative energy or like scary energy.
Yes.
Try to shut off and then told them leave me alone. But that is which I'm not related, just not spirit from my family or my ancestor or something. No.
Yeah.
But I continue feel very negative and mean. I know who it is, but I used to try to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
But is that do I am ready to communicate it?
I feel you have one woman in spirit that can be very powerfully minded and actually negative in her thinking at times. And on the earth plane, she was tough to deal with.
So, because once I know, I feel too, it's very negative. That is come from my family history.
Yes.
But when I try to ignore, like last more than years, first I had a shoulder, only left shoulder pain.
Yes.
When I had started shoulder pain, takes like 4 months, around 4 or 5 months to go away. And then after disappear, that pain come to my waist and then my leg. And then when I ignoring, again come to my pinky finger, all my left side.
Well, I feel the energy there, dear, that what you need to do is when this comes up that you're feeling the presence, you basically share with them the fact that they have no right to disrupt you. They have no right to give you pain, and they have no right to be there without permission. And when they learn and they grow and they spiritually progress, they may come back and communicate in the right manner, in a respectful manner, and that you'd be happy to do so. But you will not put up with the negativity, and you ask your guides and teachers to protect you and surround you in light because you've allowed them to come in, and I just see it cleansing them away and not allowing them to have the toll on you and pull on your energy the way they were. And you can do that all on your own because it's just taking you getting upset about it and confronting them verbally and emotionally that I am asking God's light and energy and healing to surround me and fill me, and nothing but good can come to me. And God bless them, and I'm sending them to the light.
Even though it's my family?
Yes, it doesn't matter who it would be. You send them to the light.
But why those mean energy try to communicate it, pay attention? Because I feel like they want me to understand something.
Well, they want to communicate something, but they want to communicate what they did on the earth plane, which was try to control and to a degree manipulate. And you just have to send them to the light because they've been hanging on to the earth plane, and you don't need that energy around you and in your life.
But when I make attention to that, they can be going to the light.
Yes, they can go to the light, and I feel the angels will come in and help them and guide them and take them to the light, and you're removing them from your vibration and your life, and you're doing something very positive because now they'll grow.
So I don't need to communicate it with them.
No.
No.
You know, my grandmother taught me something when I was a young child, and she said, God bless them somewhere else, preferably further away. And I would say that's probably the ultimate of further away.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. We're a little over time now, and God bless you. And look forward to talking to you again.
Next class.
Next class. Next class we're going to have
18th February.
18th. I don't see it on there.
Well,
Oh, okay. 18th of February, we're going to have the next class, and that'll be at 7 o'clock again, and it'll be a lot of fun. I'm not sure we're going to go into that. I'll know about that. And the 18th of February, and you can send emails and check in on things if you have questions. If you're on a phone and you wanted to communicate in that form, send an email through so we have some questions when we get to the class. God bless everyone. Take care. Bye.
He was 19. When I came up, 19 was still open. And then they cut them with